Hello everyone, it is Melissa, also known as stitchermel, here on YouTube and on Instagram and on my blog at stitchermel.com. This is a channel about cross stitch, and this is FlossTube video number 25, I believe. I think that's right. And today is Sunday, I had to look at my watch, July 11th, 2021. So I ended up not recording a video last weekend. It was the 4th of July holiday, and I had taken a little time off work, coupled with the holiday on Monday. And I decided I just was going to enjoy the nice long weekend, and I was going to stitch, and I wasn't going to worry about recording a floss tube or a whip parade, which I kind of thought about doing. I just wanted to just relax and stitch, and that's what I did. But I'm back today with another Sunday floss tube, and I am debating now whether I'm going to continue doing these weekly or whether I'm going to switch to a bi-weekly, every other week. Let me know down in the comments below which you prefer. Do you prefer once every other week, or do you like the weekly format? Just let me know. It's a little less work doing them every other week versus having to set everything up to try and record every weekend. And I do have a 3-day weekend every other weekend at work because I work a 980 work schedule, so I can get every other Friday off. So I'm thinking I might just switch and go back to recording them on my 3-day weekend. So this was not that 3-day weekend. So if I do go back to an every other week, I would record one next weekend, and then it would be every other week after that. But just let me know what you like better. If you guys like the weekly ones better, I'll continue doing those. But if you don't care, then maybe I'll switch back to doing every other week like I was doing originally. Because I didn't realize when I came back to doing FlossTube again after quite a bit of a hiatus when my dad died, I didn't realize just how much work would be involved in doing them on a weekly basis. And I have very much respect for those of you who do them weekly because it's a lot of work. So anyway, and along that note, one other quick housekeeping thing. I've had a couple of people reach out to me by private messenger on Instagram asking me if I have a buy me a coffee link, because those apparently that's becoming very popular, I guess, amongst floss tubers now. And I do not currently have a buy me a coffee link. I do monetize my channel, but I do always tell it to make the ads skippable so you guys don't have to sit through the ads. And I do not have it set to do what they call a mid-roll ad, meaning ads popping up in the middle of my videos. You should only see ads at the very beginning and at the end, and you should have the option to skip those if you like. But people have said they would prefer to support me directly using Buy Me a Coffee if I would set that up. So that's another question for you. Do you guys mind the Buy Me a Coffee thing? Would you rather me have that than monetize? And the main reason I do the monetization is to, because I don't make much. I mean, literally, I make a couple of bucks a month monetizing, maybe $2 or $3 a month, nothing big. But it gives me enough money so that when I do giveaways, I have the money to cover postage and things like that. But I will add the caveat that if I do demonetize my channel in preference for Buy Me a Coffee, that doesn't mean you won't see ads on my content, because YouTube, if you read their terms of service for the partners program, which you have to be a partner to monetize, they tell you they reserve the right that even if you choose not to monetize, they can still run ads on your content. So it doesn't mean there won't be ads. And if they run the ads, there's no guarantee whether or not they would be a skippable ad either. So I'm just trying to get a feel for what you guys as my viewers would prefer. Would you prefer me to continue the monetization as I have it now with skippable ads, or would you rather do a more direct support of my channel by doing Buy Me a Coffee? So just let me know down in the comments, what do you prefer? So, okay. Now, on to that. Now that I've got all the housekeeping out of the way, let's get to some whips. I only have 2 whips to show you because I had several finishes over the past 2 weeks since I recorded last. But I do have 2 projects that are still in a whip state. The first one is Garden Party by Satsuma Street, and as you can see, I'm getting very close to a finish on this. The only reason I put this one down was because I started my Christmas in July / Jolly July stitching. So I've only been stitching on Christmas projects so far this month, or Christmas / winter / holiday type projects. But I really want to get this one finished soon. I started this back in 2018 or 2019, I can't remember now which year it was, as part of a stitch along from the now defunct So and So, which was a UK shop. This was an exclusive to them originally, and then Jody later released it as a mass market chart. I'm doing the cool colorway. There is also a warm colorway option that is done in pinks and oranges. That's really pretty. My best friend Tracy, who is Tracy Stitches here on YouTube, and Wow Princess on Instagram, she did the cool colorway. We did this as a sal of a sal. Does that make sense? And she finished hers last year, and I'm still churning away on mine. So the next one I just pulled out yesterday to start working on, and this is Winter Chalkboard. Let me tighten up the Q snaps real quick because I still have this one on the Q snap since I was working on it last night. This is Winter Chalkboard by Cathy Habermann. I believe it's Habermann. I always want to say Habermann, but I believe it's Habermann. And this originally appeared in the 2018 Keepsake cross-stitch calendar, but you can now buy just this individual chart, which that calendar is no longer available. I mean, occasionally you'll see them pop up, on places like Etsy and eBay and stuff, but from the manufacturer, they're no longer available because it was a 2018 calendar. But Hirschner's.com does have this available as an individual PDF chart, which I believe is $4.99 now. It was $3.99 when I bought it, but I think it's $4.99 now. It may have been on sale when I bought it though. So, but yeah, this is super cute. And let's see, let me pull out. I don't think there's anything. Yeah, you can see everything here on this page. This is what the design will look like when it's done. As you can see, I'm stitching it on 32 count gunmetal linen from Weeks Dye Works. And I am using mostly the called for fibers. The one exception is, instead of chalk, which is what the chart calls for, I am using the Sulky. This is the 12 weight cotton in color 1071. Is that going to focus? Sort of. In off-white. They do have another one, and I don't remember the color number, but it is bright white. And it just felt way too bright to me, which it's probably close to what the chalk is from Gentle Arts, which is what it's called for. But I don't know, in my mind, when I think of chalk, I don't think of bright white. Chalk to me was always kind of a dirty off-white kind of color. At least it was in my school. It was not a bright white. It always had kind of an off-white creamy undertone. So that's what I went for my chalk color. And it looks plenty white to me up against the gunmetal. Here, let's see. Let me see if I can put something behind that so you can see it better because the wall's kind of, there we go, that's better. But yeah, I think that looks plenty white. So what I did, filled in last night, was I had the first part of this snowflake done. I didn't have the blue centers, but I had the white of the snowflake, and then I added both of these. I started the word hot chocolate down the side. I added this little table or whatever it is stand under the snowballs. I added this little snowflake, and I did the two boots. So that's what I stitched on this piece last night. Oh, and then I did all the blue Smyrna crosses in the snowflakes. But yeah, I think this is really pretty. And it stitches up pretty quickly. So if I stick with this, I should hopefully have it done in, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 days at the rate I've been stitching. So yeah, because if we look at it, all I have left is finishing the word chocolate. I need the word mittens, this cup, and then this little bit right here. And then it's going to be, oh, and I have a few little Smyrna crosses to add in around the mitten and around the boots. But yeah, I just don't feel like this is going to take that long for me to get finished. And that would let me get another whip off my list. My current whip count, as of the finishes I'm going to show you here in a minute, is at 55. I would really like to get that below 50 sooner rather than later. I don't like having over 50 whips. And in fact, I have contemplated, other than my Pacific Northwest Stitcher Summit, which is coming up this fall, there'll be some kits obviously for that. The teachers for it are Cathy from Hands On Design, Beth Sill from Summer House Stitch Works, and Tracy Horner from Ink Circles. And I don't know if they're doing a collaboration project, if they're all doing individual projects, or if they're doing a mix thereof. Obviously, we won't know until the retreat happens, and that's in, I believe, September. But I'm thinking possibly, other than those starts, doing no new starts for the rest of the year and just working on my whips. We'll see, because I do have a couple of new starts that are really calling my name. So we'll see if I'm able to stick with that or not. But I definitely want to get my whip count down. I'm very motivated right now to get it down. So I will feel much better if I can end the year with it being under 50. So we'll see. Okay, so now finishes. These first two finishes I'm going to share were actually a new start followed almost immediately by a finish because they were fairly small. This first one is Merry Christmas by Cherry Hill Stitchery. I think this one took me 4 days to stitch from start to finish. I really need something behind this one as well. I don't know why things are showing through more today. I guess it's just the lighting, but isn't this adorable? This is 32 count taupe Lugana from Zweigart. And I used all of the called for fibers. And she has her own website, cherryhillstitchery.com, and she's also on Etsy. She is a PDF only shop. She does not sell hard copies of her charts. So yeah, which that's honestly my preference. I prefer PDFs. Not because I stitch from a PDF app, because I don't. I print things out to stitch from it. But I like the fact that I don't have, or one, however you want to say it, I don't have to have physical storage to store all my charts. I can store them on a hard drive. Love that. Because I live in an apartment. I don't have a ton of extra room. And then I also like that it's better for our environment because we're not using fossil fuels shipping things across the country. You know, yes, it's still using trees because I'm printing it on paper, but I'm printing it on recycled paper, which is also better for the environment. Fewer new trees being cut down to make paper. So yeah, I love that more shops and designers are starting to kind of get on the bandwagon. And I realize, obviously, it's a double-edged sword because when you start having PDFs, it makes it easier for people to illegally share copies. So if you do buy PDF charts, just don't be an asshole. I'm sorry, but don't just deny the designers their money by sharing PDF charts. You know, it's one thing if you have bought it, you stitched it, you're no longer going to use it, and you gift it to a friend. But like, don't you be stitching it and send it to someone else, and they're stitching it, and they send it to someone, and they stitch it, and all, you know, you end up with multiple people stitching it, and the designer only getting their money one time. You know, when you've got 3 or 4 people stitching it at the same time off one purchased copy. So, okay, I'm off my soapbox about that, but just don't steal. The next one was also a almost immediately start and finish. In fact, this one may have only been 2 days. How cute is that? This is Winter Bird's Home by The Little Stitcher. This is from, oh, and I stitched it on 32 count Petit-Point white raw Belfast linen. And this is from a Just Cross Stitch ornament issue. It is from the 2018 ornament issue. Now, I will say this, if I were doing it again, I don't know if I would bother taking the time to stitch in these snowflakes, because with the Petit-Point fabric, which is the called for fabric, I just kind of feel like they get lost. So I don't know that I would bother stitching them the next time if I ever did this again. So if you're thinking of stitching this one, it's up to you, but I don't know that I would take the time to do it, because there's, you've got the little snowflakes from the fabric. So, but like I say, it is what was called for. I used all called for everything on this one. The stitch count on this is only 40 by 33, so it is definitely a quick stitch. So yep, that was my second finish for the month. My third finish, whoop, things are dropping. I have no idea why I left this one languishing so long. I started this one, I think in 2019, maybe 2020, but it had sat unstitched for over a year since I had last worked on it. But I finally pulled it out and finished it. There's something weird showing in my camera. Oh, it's my alarm system behind me. Duh. Let me put something behind this. There we go. So this is Farm Folk. It is part of the Farmhouse Christmas series from Little House Needleworks. Again, I used all the called fors on this. I didn't, with the exception of the fabric. Oops. It calls for 30 count portobello, and I used 32 count lamb's wool. Again, in retrospect, if I were doing it again, I think I would have picked a slightly darker fabric. I think the white gets a little lost. I mean, it shows up, but I think it gets it's fine on the house and things like that. But like on the border and the snowflakes, I feel like it gets a little bit lost on this. But, it's how I started it, and I already have all the rest of the squares cut and serged for the rest of the series. So I will just continue on with this. So, yep. Okay, so that is that one. And that one took me 2 days to finish up, because when I picked it up to work on it, I had to put in this whole bottom part of the scene and the snowflakes. So, and I mean, if it had been a weekend day, I could have done it in a day, but I was doing it at night after work during the week. So it did take me a couple of days to get that all filled in. So that was finish number 3. And my final finish I did yesterday. I finished it up. This is another one. I have no idea why I left it sitting so long. I had not stitched on it since 2019, I think. No, 2020. It had been over a year since I had worked on this one as well. But I finished Baby It's Cold. Here, I'll just grab a piece of paper from over here if that works. This is Baby It's Cold from Heartstring Samplery. I did this as part of the Baby It's Cold Sal in honor of Leanne from Lost and Floss, who passed away. She and Barb, who was her partner at Lost and Floss, they did FlossTube videos together. They were good friends. And they were doing this as a Sal when Leanne passed away. And so Jen from Corks and Stitches and Julie from Gulf Coast Stitches kind of paired up with Beth from Heartstring and kind of regrouped the Sal for Barb and got everyone doing it in Leanne's memory. And so, yeah, when I picked this back up on Wednesday to work on it, I had the house done, I had this tree, and I had part of the border started. So I did everything else since Wednesday, between Wednesday and Saturday. I got this finished. I have so many whips like this that if I would just spend a few days, I could get them done. So that's kind of what has been motivating me with no new starts maybe for the rest of the year, so I can get some of these knocked out. And I did want to show you one little thing on here. I did add a tiny little over one cardinal on the roof. I don't know how well that's going to show up. And I did that in Leanne's honor. If you're not aware, cardinals are kind of a sign that if you see a cardinal, it's like your deceased loved one's way of letting you know they're thinking of you. And that's what I grew up being taught, was what cardinals were a sign of, which always kind of amused me because I don't think of my family as being particularly superstitious or things like that. They're very ultra conservative, fundamental religious, and that just kind of seemed to go against the things I was being taught in church. But we always had a cardinal on the Christmas tree, and my gran said that it was, the way of sharing the holidays with our loved ones who had passed on by having the cardinal on the tree. And she would always go out every year and find like an abandoned bird's nest in a tree nearby, and she would put that on the tree with the little cardinal ornament. And the ornament she had, it was actually covered in feathers, and actual feathers, red feathers. And it had a little clip on the bottom that you could clip it onto a Christmas tree limb. And of course, growing up in the South, we lived in the heart of cedar country, so she always wanted a cedar Christmas tree. So we had the cedar Christmas tree, and she would clip that little cardinal on it with the little bird nest, and that was just always part of Christmas growing up in my memory. So, yeah. So anyway, that is Baby It's Cold Outside. All finished. Okay, so that's all my finishes and all my whips. That's everything I have worked on in the past 2 weeks. So I feel like I had a very productive 2 weeks. So with 2 whips and 4 finishes, that's pretty good. So next up, I do have a little bit of Stitchy Kindness to share. The first one is I received a PDF of a chart from the Blackberry Rabbit from Karen and Bren. Well, it's from Karen, I guess, because the Blackberry Rabbit is her design company, but Bren is the one who actually emailed it to me. And she sent me this as a thank you for giving their channel a shout out when they started their FlossTube recently. So I thought that was very sweet. This chart had actually already been on my wish list because, I've mentioned it on this channel before. The name Melissa, which is my actual given name, comes from the Greek word for bee. And so I kind of have a thing about bees. I wouldn't say I collect them necessarily, but I like things that are bee related. So when I was paper crafting, I used to do a lot of bee themed cards. I would make, I had a couple of really cute bee themed stamp sets that I would use to make cards. And I've always enjoyed a lot of the bee themed cross-stitch charts. These are more of my preference, which this is more of a realistic looking bee, like the cartoony looking bees. Those I don't particularly enjoy quite as much. I prefer them more realistic. And this one is called the Honeymakers, which is absolutely beautiful. So yeah, this is one that I'm going to have a hard time not starting if I can go on my new starts kick for the rest of the year, because I would really love to start this. It's so beautiful. So anyway, so thank you, Karen, for gifting this to me, and thank you, Bren, for sending it to me. Okay, the next thing I have, Stitchy Kindness, is from Dawn Myers from Gamma's Treasures Shop on Etsy. I hope that's going to focus. And then she is also on Facebook, Instagram, and she has her email address on there. But she kindly sent me a couple of project bags that she has in her Etsy shop for me to check them out and share them with you. And I actually absolutely love this because she and I had a conversation about thread beds, because I've been kind of looking around, looking for some thread beds, and I saw that she made them and sold them with her project bags. And so this worked out great for me, because not only did I get some beautiful project bags, I got some coordinating thread beds. So this is the first one, and I've already unzipped it. Let me zip it back up just so it'll be a little more sturdy to hold up. As you can see, this is a vinyl front project bag. It is beautifully made. And then on the back is this gorgeous Forest Friends print. And then the thread bed she made using the coordinating fabric from the inside. And then she has a magnet under her little tag here, so you can use it, you know, to keep your needles safe, or you could even put your scissors on there. It's strong enough to hold your scissors. So yeah, these are absolutely gorgeous. And if you are one of my Canadian viewers, she is a Canadian shop. I believe she's in the Toronto area. So I know a lot of Canadians, stitchers are often looking for Canadian shops, which helps save them money on postage because they don't have to pay that international shipping fee to get things from the States. So if you're looking for very nicely well-made, beautiful project bags or thread beds, or with coordinating thread beds, I should say, check out Dawn's shop. I will have her linked in the description below, but she is Gamma's Treasures Shop. Yeah, Gamma's Treasures Shop. Gammas Treasures Shop. Yep. Then the second one she sent me could not be any more perfect for me if she had tried. It's like she's known me for years, because I showed you this first one, the Forest Friends. I love bunnies. I even have a tattoo of a bunny on my ankle. So yeah, I love bunnies. And I love little hedgehogs. I think they're so adorable. So this one was perfect for me because of that. Well, then she sent me a bee themed bag, and I was just talking about bees. So yeah, love this. So the inside fabric, and again, this is a vinyl front bag, which is my preference for handmade project bags. I like being able to see what's inside. So I much prefer the vinyl front to the fabric front. And so the inside fabric is a bee print, and then the outside fabric is bee skeps. How cute is that? And it says honey, honeybee, beehive, save the bees. Yeah, that's what the little words all say. So yeah, this could not be any more perfect. And then again, she used the interior fabric to make the matching thread bed, or coordinating thread bed, I'll say. Absolutely gorgeous. So thank you so very much, Dawn. These bags are amazing. They're beautiful. They're so well made, and I could not be happier. So again, everyone, especially Canadian stitchers, if you are in the market for some beautiful project bags, be sure to head over to Dawn's Etsy shop and check her out. She is also on Instagram as Gamma's Treasures. So yeah. Okay, so that takes care of Stitchy Kindness. So now we will move into haul. I don't have a whole lot of haul, a few things. I'll get this first one out of the way. This is the frame. I purchased this at Michael's. This is the frame that Liz Matthews used in the needle and hand piece that I got 2 weeks ago at the Acorns and Threads 25th anniversary bash. So she had mentioned on the chart that she had purchased the frame at Michael's. So I went on Michael's website and found it and picked that up. So I've got that now for when I finish that piece, I can finish it. And then this is a kitted project I ordered before this round of the Stitch from Stash started, and I finally got it. Let me pull it out because I think this plastic bag it's in is going to be extremely reflective because it's very shiny. This is Klara Hansen from Hello from Liz Matthews. Isn't that beautiful? I love this so much. And I got this kitted through Dreama at Needlecraft Corner. And so I got the 36 count called for straw linen and the NPI silks. Now, it does state on here that the sampler was worked in DMC 502 and that the two smalls, which if you look, the pin cushion is just this top section of the chart and this drum is this bottom section of the chart. So this was stitched with the DMC 502 and these were stitched with the MPI. Now, in the kit I got from Dreama, it's all the MPI. She did not include the 502, and there's enough here to stitch all 3 projects, she said. So I'm now going to have to decide whether I am just going to use all MPI or if I'm going to switch, because I do like how this is a little bit darker on the sampler. So I may end up pulling some 502 out of my DMC stash to do the sampler. The MPI is Pine Green Range, color 663, lot 08, which is a really, really beautiful color. Yeah. So that is the MPI. Okay, I'll put that all away later. And then the only other piece of haul I have is I subscribed to the, what is she calling it? Halloween Club from Shannon and Christine, and we received our first chart. So this is the Club 1. It's a 4-part club, and you get a new chart with 2 designs each month. So this was the chart for July. And these are PDF, and then I just printed it out. Each one is 50 by 50, and they are stitched all in DMC, I believe. Let me double check. Yes, it's all DMC. Yep. Oh, and a Krynic. All DMC and a Krynic. Oh, and there are 2 beads. So, yeah, so I've got the Krynic. It's just 002 or 002. But I'll have to check and see if I have the Mill Hills. I may not. I don't know that I have those. I'll have to pick those up. But Mill Hills are cheap, so that won't take too much money out of my Stitch Room Stash budget for that. So, yeah, that is that. Oh, I forgot. I have one more thing. This accidentally got put in the haul stack, and this is Stitchy Kindness. And I mentioned this last time, but then I realized I had not shown the chart. This I received in a giveaway from Abby Bella Stitch. This is the Le Poulet pin cushion from Blackbird Designs. And she had done this in a giveaway a while back and then had not gotten around to mailing things until now, which was fine with me. I had, in fact, completely forgotten I had won it. So it was a very pleasant surprise when it arrived. And I got it a couple 3 weeks ago, and I thought I had shown it, but I hadn't. And so I wanted to be sure and show that since she was so kind enough to send it to me. And of course, we got the news this past week that Barb from Blackbird Designs passed away the morning of the 4th of July, which is very, very sad for the stitching community. It is a great loss for us. She was such a beautiful designer. And so, yeah. So a lot of people have been pulling out their Blackbird charts and working on them. And so, yeah, it's lovely seeing everyone working on their Blackbird design. I mean, a lot of people already were that weekend because it was the Blackbird Weekend Sal hosted by Brenda and Laura from Brenda and the Serial Starter FlossTube channel. And then at the end of that weekend was when we got the news from Alma that Barb had passed. So, yep. Anyway, so I don't have a fabric with this yet. It calls for Confederate gray, but I did have all of the flosses in my stash. This is my one sad little strand of garden gate, but I think it'll be enough because it's only 2 of these little squares at the bottom, so it's like 32 stitches. So I think that should be enough, but yeah, I've got everything else for it as the called fors, so that's nice. I don't have any Confederate gray linen, so I'll have to decide, you know, from what I have in my stash, what I'm going to use instead for that. Okay, so now back to haul. I saw this and I just immediately had to have it because I love rainbows. And she released this last month for Pride Month. And it was one I actually had already purchased before I did my last FlossTube. And if you remember at the end of that one, I said, oh, there are a couple of things I bought digital charts of that I forgot to print out. So that's what these next 2 are. So this was the Rainbow Love Biscornu by Irina Mastakova. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. She is Fireplace Hobby on Etsy. And I have stitched one of her Biscornu patterns before. I did one Christmas 2019, I believe it was. Another one of her Biscornu designs for Anita. She is the mother of my best friend Tracy, and we all always spend Christmas together. Well, at least pre-COVID we did. We all spent Christmas together out at my timeshare out by Palm Springs, and so because that's where they snowbird. And so I had stitched a Biscornu for her to use as a pin cushion or just decoration or whatever she wanted. She is a quilter predominantly, although I believe she is working on a cross stitch piece now. So yeah, very cute. And then the other one that I purchased, and I have this already fully kitted, ready to go. And this is another one that is kind of calling my name that I want to start. And this is Momento Mori by Satsuma Street. I absolutely love this. It is so colorful and so pretty. Yeah, I love this so much. And like I say, I have this fully kitted and ready to go. I have some 32 count black, I believe it's Jobelin, I believe, with all the DMCs. So colorful and pretty. So yeah, that one's going to be a hard one for me not to start because I love bright, colorful, cheery things, and that one definitely. The more I'm thinking about this, I don't know if No Starts is going to work, but I do really want to get my whip count below 50. So I mean, I'm going to have to kind of do one or the other. I'm either going to have to get my whip count down, or I'm going to have to have I'm either going to do that with No New Starts, or I'm going to let go of the goal of getting my whips below 50, and I'm just going to start some more things and keep it below 60. Okay, so that is the last of the haul. So we've gone through whips, we've gone through finishes, we've gone through Stitchy Kindness, we've gone through haul, and that brings me to plans. So I am planning to continue for now working on my winter chalkboard. When that one is finished, I may then pull out Garden Party. Even though it's not a Christmas or winter theme project, if I finish this, that will be 5 Christmas finishes in July. And at that point, I think I would call my Christmas in July good. Because I am kind of already starting to get a little burnt out on Christmas because I've been doing it. Well, today will be the 11th straight day I've worked on a Christmas project. And I enjoy Christmas projects, but when it's, 90 degrees outside, you can only do so much Christmas. But I am going to work on some Christmas at the end of the month. I do know that because I am participating in I'll call it the stitching games to avoid getting into any legal trouble for using the term of the games that are coming up, the Olympics. There's a Facebook group that I am in, a stitching related Facebook group that I am in, who is going to have a stitching games event that runs the entirety of the Olympic Games. So it starts on July 23rd and finishes on the 14th, or whatever day the closing ceremonies are of the sporting Olympics. And there are different categories and ways you can participate. You can do the marathon, which means you stitch on one piece the entirety of the Olympics. There is the decathlon, which you would work on 10 designs by 10 different designers. There's the sprint, which is what I'm doing, which is you do a quick rotation, no set number of projects you have to work on, but it's going to be several and you're going to do a quick rotation on them. I've got 7 picked out. And then I can't remember what the last one is. Oh, I don't remember what they called it, but the Olympic rings. And on that one, you can stitch on as many projects as you want, but you can only stitch using colors found in the Olympic flag. So you can use red, yellow, green, blue, black, and white, because white is the field of the flag. So yeah, I thought that one would be probably the biggest challenge of being able to only stitch in those colors. But anyway, I ultimately decided to do the sprint. I had kind of initially thought I would do either the decathlon or the marathon, but then I ended up at the sprint because I wasn't sure I wanted to switch quite as fast as I would need to for the decathlon. And I also decided I wanted to work on more than just one project for that many days. I very much start to get bored with a project if I stitch on it for more than like 3 or 4 days. So that was my goal. So the projects I have come up with, let me pull them out of the bag here. Oh, oops. I'm dropping things. So since the Olympics start in July, and it will still be Jolly July, Christmas in July, whatever you want to call it, for the first 3 days, so July 23rd, 24th, and 25th, I will be working on Away We Go from Country Cottage Needleworks. I am stitching this on 32 count blue spruce linen. And here is where I am at before the Olympics start. So yeah, this is another one. Let me put something behind it. I don't know why the lighting is so different today that I need something behind all these. So yeah, I mean, I honestly am not that far from a finish on this one. I need to finish the third house. I need to put in all the snow underneath and the ho 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 away we go words, and then fill in all the snowflakes and the moon. Only. That actually is quite a bit, but it's not that much compared to how much I already have done. I'm probably, I would say, 65 to 70% done on this one. So, yeah. And so again, that's what the finished product will look like. So that will be my first one. And again, so the 3 Christmas designs I've picked out, these will all be worked on in the July part of the Olympics. And they will each get 3 days. The next one I'm going to work on, which will be the 26th, 27th, and 28th. And I don't know if I have a picture of this one. I'm looking around through my charts and stuff to see if there is a picture of it. No, I do not have a picture of it because I only have my working copy in here. I don't have the original chart. Dropping things again. I am going to work on Royal Holiday by Mirabilia. And this is my, I think, 3rd oldest whip. So that's where I'm at on her. She's huge. This is on 32 count conifer linen by Picture This Plus. Yeah, but she is, some people refer to her as the Christmas Queen, as part of the Queen series. So if you're familiar with the Mirabilia Queens, she looks very similar, but she is just a Christmas. She's holding like a wreath with the candles in it, like the Scandinavian Advent kind of thing. maybe you've butchered that, but it seems to me it's a Scandinavian thing, but yeah. So I'm making pretty good progress on getting all of the skirt and everything, and so then it'll just be her body, her torso, I should say, and the wreath and that sort of thing in her hands. So, but yeah, that is Royal Holiday. And like I said, this is my third oldest WIP. I think I've been working on this since 2012. So, yeah. So actually, Garden Party is my fourth oldest WIP, and it is from 2018. I remember now, it is from 2018. So when I get that one done, other than 3 WIPs that are all 2012 and before, all of my WIPs will at least be less than 2 years old. Well, from 2019 or newer. So at least I don't have a bunch of old languishing WIPs. They're all fairly recent WIPs. The other 2 that I have, my oldest one is the Taj Mahal, which I showed it in the last couple of FlossTube videos, I think. I know I've shown it recently, since I've been doing FlossTube again. And I started it January 1st, 2007. So, I mean, it's pushing being a 15-year-old WIP. So, yeah. And then the second oldest one I have, I started in 2009 as part of a class I took, and it is a large counted canvas piece called Plum Blossom Kimono that I took at my local needlepoint store, the class, and it's probably not even a quarter of the way done yet, but it's a large piece. The canvas it's on, I believe, is 18 by 24, and it's complete coverage of the kimono. So yeah, it's big. And and it's a counted canvas piece. It's not a painted canvas. And the main reason why I haven't worked on it that much is just because it's so big, it's bulky. It's not something I can sit in my stitching chair and work on. I have to sit either at my table or at my craft desk and work on it, because up to this point, I've just had to kind of hang it off the edge of the table and use a frame weight to hold it down to work on it. But I'm hoping now that I have my Lowry stand, it'll be a little bit easier to work on. I still don't think I'll be able to work on it in my stitching chair, which is a recliner, because I still think it'll be too big to really sit in the chair and work on it. But it'll give me a little more flexibility of being able to sit in even one of my dining chairs and have it be directly in front of me and make it easier to work on. So we'll see. Okay, so then so that was Royal Holiday. The last one I'm going to work on as part of my Stitching Olympics, which this will be the 29th, 30th, and 31st of August, is the Prairie Schooler Christmas Eve. And as you can tell, this is a reprint. I believe originally this was, a cardstock chart, but this is a reprint. And I'm not very far on this one. I have one deer. That's it. Oh. Block out my security alarm back behind me. So yeah, I have the one deer done. This is on 32 count platinum Lugana. Yep, and so, yeah, so I have a long way to go. The deer I have done is this middle deer, because I did a center start on this one. I don't know why. I normally would do a corner start, and I certainly could have done my normal corner start and done the border, but for some reason I started this one in the middle. It was very unlike me, but here are all the colors. Really pretty. I mean, it's very much a Prairie Schooler palette. Yep. Okay, so the 3 Christmas projects are each going to get 3 days. When August 1st rolls around, I'm going to switch away from Christmas, and I'm going to give 2 days each to 4 projects, so 8 days. Okay, so it's 15 days total, because 17 days total, because I have 9 days of Christmas stitching and 8 days of non-Christmas stitching. And the non-Christmas stitching is going to be a Whip Go catch-up. because a lot of my squares on my whip-go board call for 2 days of stitching on things. And so the first one up will be August 1st and 2nd will be Quilting Bee by the Blue Flower. This is another one that I'm really close on, and I don't think I can get it finished in 2 days, but if I push on it, it probably wouldn't take me much more than that to get it finished. Let me just go on and put paper behind it from the get-go. I need to get me one of those foam core boards with the wonder clips, like I see Niecy Lynn do. So yeah, so this is where I'm at. The bee is done. So I have started on the border. So all the border and a couple of icons, or motifs rather, in the middle is all I have left on this. Yep. And I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but I added some blending. Oh yeah, you can see it there. I added blending filament in the fill on the wings to give them some sparkle. And that is, I'll tell you exactly what I used. 032 blending filament. Yeah, you can't see the sparkle as much there, but yeah. So I did that in both of the 2 large wings. In the fill, I believe that fill is Mountain Mist, if memory serves. But yeah, I love the sparkle it gives them. Because when I think of like insect wings, I always think of them having a bit of sparkle and iridescence to them. And I wanted to capture that in my bee. And I have also the Sleeping Bee, which is kind of the winter snowy bee, and the Tudor Rose Bee, both also from Blue Flower. And I will do the same thing on those, just so that all my bees will have matching wings. Then on August 3rd and 4th, I will pull out Sarah Spencer 1870. This is from Hands Across the Sea Samplers. And this one has also already been called on my whip-go board, and I haven't worked on it yet, so I need to get that done. And I don't know if this piece of paper will be big enough. I'm having trouble. That's where I'm at on this one. It's a really, really beautiful sampler. This is part of their Little Gems series. I believe, yeah, it is a Little Gem. So you can get these either as a printed chart or as a PDF download, which I did the PDF download option. So, yep. That is Sarah Spencer. And Chris, the Camping Stitcher on Instagram, she's either close to a finish or she just finished. I know she's on the downhill side. I remember seeing a post where she started this last motif. I just can't remember off the top of my head right now whether or not I've seen a finish from her on it yet. And she stitched it up fast. It kind of made me feel bad that I've left mine languishing, because this is another one I have not worked on since 2020. So if nothing else, this event is going to be good for me getting out some of my older lips that I haven't worked on in a while. Okay, so then the first, second, third, fourth. So the 5th and the 6th, I have to always stop and think. I am going to work on, and this is another one I haven't worked on since last year. This is Henna Mandala by Ink Circles. A lot of these I started in Mania last year, which I don't know that I started one every day, but I had a new start like every other day or something. And I think a lot of that stemmed from, it was right before my dad passed. He passed on May 23rd. And we all knew it was coming. We didn't know when, but we knew it was coming. And I kind of got in this mode of, I have so many beautiful things I want to stitch, and I don't know, none of us know how much time we have left. And I was like, I want to start it. And so I just kind of went on a starting binge. And I started, I think, 15 new projects before May 23rd during Mania last year. 14 or 15, something like that. And then I didn't stitch at all, I don't think, for a few weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. Because every time I would pick up my stitching, I would think about my dad, and I don't know, I couldn't do it for a while. And then once I did finally start stitching again, I just kept up with the new starts. I just kept going. Because I started 2020 with 15 whips, and I ended 2020 with nearly 60. So that tells you how many new starts I had last year. So, but I have not worked on this one, I don't think, since Stitch Mania. Maybe I did. Yeah, I did. I didn't do all of this during Mania for sure, now that I look at it. But I know I haven't worked on this in 2021. But that's where I'm at on it. And this is the upper edge of the design. And this is the center. So, yep. It's beautiful. I love the fiber, which I'm using the called for fiber. And I'm stitching this on 32 count lamb's wool. I always just like stick the sticker off my fabric on my design. Well, when I'm buying from 123 Stitch, because they're the only ones who do the stickers like that. But I am using Gloriana Red Clay. Isn't that gorgeous? Which I'm fairly certain is the called for. Let me double check. Does it tell me anywhere? I must be missing a page because I'm not seeing where it says. Or maybe it didn't. Oh, no, here it is. Duh. Yeah. Red Clay, Gloriana. Yep. So I am using the cotton. And the fabric it called for was just a 32 count. It didn't specify any. Oh, yeah. The model was stitched onto bloom. And I'm just stitching mine on lamb's wool because that's what I had in my stash. And it didn't require. And obviously, the red clay looks great on just any neutrally type fabric. So yeah. So if I can use a stash fabric and not have to buy a new fabric, that's always my preference. Okay, and so then the final 2 days, I decided it would be kind of fun to pull out kind of a semi-patriotic type piece. And I don't have a picture of this one. All I have is the chart. So I'm just gonna flash this really quick and then throw it right back down. Whoop. So yeah, so nobody's gonna be able to stitch from that quick of a view. And so it's United We Stand from Teresa Kogut. And this is where I am at. And so her skirt comes down quite a bit further, and then there will be the second girl to do as well. So, yeah, love it. I love that it, features, multiple ethnicities on it. And, hopefully the United States will do well in the Olympics. And so I thought, well, that's a good one. And the United We Stand will be a reminder that even though we are all different races, different countries, ultimately we are all the human race, and that we will, unite and stand together for a better world. So, yep. And I don't know what I'm stitching this on. Yeah. Oh, it must be Vintage Country Mocha because it's only on one side. Yeah, it's Vintage Country Mocha, 32 count. Linen. Yep, so pretty. So those are my plans for the stitching games. So I think I've covered everything. Ooh, shirt's falling. Yeah, I think that's it. So, oh my gosh, it's been an hour. Sorry for taking up so much of your time. Thanks for stopping in. I guess that is one advantage of filming every week versus every other week is I don't have quite as long videos. Most of mine have been falling in the 35 to 40 minute range. But although I wouldn't normally take up as much time as I did on this video with sharing my stitching games plans, and that took up probably 15 or 20 minutes easily. So anyway, but yeah, as I mentioned at the start of the video, please leave me a comment and let me know what your thoughts are on Buy Me a Coffee versus monetizing, which you would prefer, and what your thoughts are on weekly videos versus every other week. So thanks so much for stopping by. If you have not already, please subscribe to my channel. At the end of this video, there'll be a little circle with my face, which you can click on to subscribe. And I will also have a link to my most recent video prior to this that you can check out if you haven't seen it already. And please remember to give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. I love your comments. I read them all and try my best to respond to them all. And I hope everyone has a lovely week. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.